Hi friends, I'm starting an experiment to grow Aerogarden's red heirloom cherry tomatoes in Aerogarden Harvest and Aerogarden Harvest XL and see if the XL can make any difference. This Harvest XL is the bigger version of Harvest with bigger bowl and a little bit of higher wattage lights. Let's see if this bigger bowl and higher wattage lights can make any difference in growing Aerogarden's red heirloom cherry tomatoes. I started this garden 6 days ago. I have 3 pots with 4 plants. I have 1 plant in each of these 2 pots and I have 2 plants in this pod. So today I am moving these pots to Harvest XL. Once these seedlings grow a little bit big, I will separate these and grow 2 plants here as well. Then I will do the side-by-side comparison of both gardens. I'll be feeding these gardens with Aerogarden nutrients. I will be adding 8 ml every 14 days in both gardens. It's day 9. The tomato plants are growing very nice. They started developing real leaves. The plants in Harvest XL also doing great. They started developing real leaves. Now I'm going to remove the domes. Here the seedlings are big enough, so I will separate these seedlings. I'm gently pulling one plant. Oops, looks like I broke the roots. Yeah, I broke the root system, but I'm pretty sure this will survive with this little root. Let's give it a try. It's day 11. The seedlings are growing very nice in Harvest and Harvest XL as well. It's day 16. The seedlings are coming up very nice. They are in fact looking like plants. This is Harvest Basic. Similar development in Harvest XL as well. The seedlings are coming very nice. It's day 21. The plants in Aerogarden Harvest as well as the plants in Harvest XL are doing great. They are growing at same pace. One plant in Harvest is running a little bit behind because when I transplanted I broke the main root, but the plant still survived and it's picking up the growth now. It looks a little bit behind compared to the other plant, but it's fine. It's also doing good. I see a lot of side branches and lots of new development. It's day 24. The plants in Harvest Basic are growing excellent. One of the plant in Harvest started producing flower buds. I see a bunch of flower buds here. The plants in Harvest XL also started developing buds, but they are very small. The growth of plants in Harvest XL and Harvest are very near, but the plant in Harvest XL is definitely little ahead. It's not a huge difference, but the plants in Harvest are growing a little bit faster compared to the plants in Harvest XL, as I see the birds pretty clearly here. Day 28. Some flower buds started blooming. I see a couple of flowers coming here on one plant in Aerogarden Harvest. The second plant also started developing flower buds. I see a couple of flower buds here. So it's all going well in Aerogarden Harvest. Coming to Harvest XL, I see a couple of birds on both plants. But they are not getting ready to bloom yet. So at this point I can say the Harvest XL is running a little bit behind, but all 4 plants have flower buds at the moment. It's day 34. The plants are doing excellent in both Harvest and Harvest XL. I see flowers on all 4 plants. I see some of the flowers started drying up, which means there are some tomatoes coming up soon. This is Harvest and this is Harvest XL. There are nice flowers in Harvest XL too. all going at the same pace so far. It's day 36. I see one flower started drying up and almost falling off. I see a baby tomato as well. So this is all going good. The plants in Harvest XL were a little bit slow in the beginning, maybe because the lights were pretty far, but they picked up the growth and now plants are bushy, there are lots of flowers. So this is all going good. It's day 40. I see a couple of baby tomatoes on both plants in Harvest. Coming to Harvest XL, I see one very small baby tomato here. I don't see anything else, but it is getting there. I see a lot of flowers drying up. So hopefully I will see baby tomatoes pretty soon. So again, Harvest XL is running slightly behind, but not bad. It is almost there. I see a bunch of baby tomatoes growing very nice. The growth is pretty similar in Aerogarden Harvest and Harvest seeing the same in Harvest XL as well. I see a bunch of baby tomatoes growing very nice on both plants in Harvest. It's day 55. I see a lot of tomatoes on all the plants. It's day 60. Pretty much seeing the same in Harvest XL as well. I see a couple of baby tomatoes on both plants. All 4 plants have well-developed tomatoes. The tomatoes that are still being developed, bunch of baby tomatoes, and still lot of flowering and some new flower buds. It's day 66. All 4 plants looking very nice and they are pretty close in growth. But I see one tomato started ripening in Harvest. This is on one plant. Other plants doesn't have any tomatoes ripening, but most of the tomatoes are matured and they are getting ready. Coming to Harvest XL, I don't see any tomatoes in ripening stage, but they turned light colors and they are also probably getting ready. So based on these results, the plants in Harvest are little bit advanced compared to the plants in Harvest XL. It's day 69. I see more tomatoes ripening in Harvest. Some tomatoes started ripening on the second plant as well in Harvest. Coming to Harvest XL, I see some tomatoes started ripening on one plant. I don't see any tomatoes ripening on the second plant, but some of them looking very close. It's day 76. I see a bunch of tomatoes are ready to harvest in the Harvest model. Coming to Harvest XL, I see only 2 tomatoes are ripened and ready to harvest. So the plants in Harvest XL are growing definitely slow compared to Harvest, though it's not a huge deal. I guess most of the tomatoes will be ready pretty soon here. But anyways, I can definitely say the plants in Harvest model are growing pretty fast compared to Harvest XL. Day 79. Bunch of tomatoes ready in both Harvest and Harvest XL. So I'm going to harvest these tomatoes and see how many tomatoes I got from each garden. I'm starting with Harvest. I'm going to count as I harvest. 1, 2, 27 and 28. So I got 28 from Harvest. Now let's see Harvest XL. 1, 2, 25, 26. That's it. Here they are. On day 79, Harvest won the race by 1 tomato. We can say it's not a big deal and it's a draw, even though Harvest won the race. So overall, Harvest and Harvest XL performed exactly same in terms of growing Aerogardens red heirloom cherry tomatoes. It's day 86. I see a bunch of tomatoes are ready in Harvest model. They ripened very well and ready to harvest anytime. Coming to Harvest XL, I don't see any tomatoes that are ready to harvest. A bunch of them are in ripening stage. So these plants are definitely running pretty slow. It's day 87. Lot more tomatoes ready in harvest model. I'm going to harvest all these tomatoes that are ready. Coming to harvest, I don't have any tomatoes that are ready. I got 15 tomatoes from harvest model, while I got nothing from Harvest XL on day 87. This result once again confirmed that the plants in harvest model did very well compared to the plants in Harvest XL. It's day 89. I see some more tomatoes ready to harvest in harvest model. Finally, I see some tomatoes ready to harvest in Harvest XL as well. So I'm going to harvest these and count the tomatoes again. Harvest XL, but 11 tomatoes from Harvest model. There are a lot of tomatoes in Harvest XL model that are ready to ripe, and some of them already ripening. It's day 96. A bunch of tomatoes are ripened very well and they are ready to harvest in harvest model. Coming to Harvest XL, there are a bunch of tomatoes ready here as well. Some of them are looking really big. So I'm going to harvest the tomatoes again and see how many tomatoes I got from each model. So I got 35 from Harvest and 28 from Harvest XL, but lot of tomatoes in Harvest XL are quite big. Even the count is more in Harvest. It is pretty close between Harvest and Harvest XL. Now coming to the plants. The plants in Harvest have only a few tomatoes left. This is on one plant. The other plant literally has one tomato left, but it has a lot of new development already. Look at these beautiful flower buds. They are getting ready to bloom already. Now coming to Harvest XL, a few tomatoes are still ripening on both plants. Since the plants are growing little slow in Harvest XL, I think I still have a couple of tomatoes left here. 101. Few more tomatoes ripened well and they are ready to harvest in both Harvest and Harvest XL. So I'm going to harvest all these ripened tomatoes and count them. Here is the harvest. I got 10 tomatoes from Harvest model and 20 tomatoes from Harvest XL. Most of these tomatoes are pretty small. This is almost the end of the first crop. The plants still have some tomatoes, but very few. It's day 104. Few more tomatoes ripened in Harvest model, and all the tomatoes from the first batch ripened in Harvest XL. So it's time to harvest. Here they are, 4 tomatoes from Harvest and 9 tomatoes from Harvest XL. Now the plants in Harvest XL are done with their first crop completely. The plants in Harvest model has 7 tomatoes left. Overall, the plants in Harvest did definitely better. They produced the tomatoes earlier compared to Harvest XL. The Harvest XL is supposed to perform much better compared to Harvest because of its better lighting and bigger bowl, but that's not really the case. The plants in Harvest did pretty good. They produced tomatoes a couple of days earlier compared to Harvest XL. So if you ask me whether Harvest XL is any better compared to Harvest, my answer is no. Unless you're planning to grow the plants that can grow more than 1 feet but can still stay under 1.5 feet, then go for Harvest XL, because the lights in Harvest XL can be extended up to 1.5 feet. Other than that, I don't see any advantage of Harvest XL compared to Harvest. That is all for now. Thanks for watching. Happy aero gardening.